Looking for all the latest tips, tricks, updates of what's going on in the recruiting industry, check out the Digital Recruiter Sunday night newsletter. I am not here to blow up your inbox. I don't have enough time to create an email every single day. I once a week send you impactful, a big thing that I've learned this week or realized from working with hundreds of recruiters, owning an agency myself. I'm in the trenches every day like you are, and I'm sharing everything that I'm seeing every Sunday, from content, from automation, from how to get better clients, how to find candidates quicker, how to grow your team, how to hire people, everything in between. The link is in the comments. Sign up today, or you can go to my LinkedIn profile, Clark Wilcox. It's the first link on my feature section. You can sign up there. It's all free. So you get all the tips, everything that you need, free in your inbox every Sunday night. Sign up today.
This is Clark with Digital Recruiter Podcast. We're here at ERE Recruiting Innovation Summit in Las Vegas. This is the first conference that Digital Recruiter has been on the road at, so it's been pretty fun so far. And I'm here with special guest Ross Mayfield. Ross, what's up, man?
I'm excited to be here. It's fun we've worked together for 4 years, finally met up face to face.
Yeah, dude, it's been like way overdue. So it's just kind of bringing back like the in-person, like starting Digital Recruiter in 2021. And I still like that COVID era. Nothing was really happening in person. And it was kind of, we had a million Zoom calls, our client calls, our group coaching calls. And I was just like, this year, I was like, I got to get out in person. It's just meet people. And I met Joel Algie, met Danielle, Evan, we met, and now you. And it's just like been super cool. Like, what's it like for you kind of like being here and then being interacting with all these recruiters? Because you have a copywriting background, not like a recruiting background. Like, what have been your takeaways so far?
No, it's been interesting because, like you said, I work with recruiters a lot, but not from a recruiting point of view. I'm a copywriter. I talk about the marketing problems. And so it's interesting to see what recruiters, especially in the kind of more corporate recruiter, we really focus on the agency side, but what they're focused on and what people are interested in. And, in a word, everybody is talking about AI.
Yeah.
But like walking it back a little bit, it's also the fundamental problems that we've always focused on, which are how do I find the right people that I want to talk to? How do I get them to talk to me? How do I keep them talking to me? And so it's kind of validating to see that is the biggest problem that people have.
You're spot on. Like I'm seeing all the tools of the signage right now. It's like top of funnel, AI assistant, AI agents, like. But then the first talk this morning, with Glenn Cathy was like, hey, it could be taking over, right? Or it is eliminating jobs, like currently with some bigger companies, and there's just a lot of fear. I think some of the follow up has been like, yes, but right, that there's still that human interaction. I think that's been like it's just seeing people want to learn how they're not going to get left in the lead. And I think it's support, because I know a lot of our audience is going to be agency recruiters, right? You just know that, like with HRT teams, like they're going through that. So if you're just doing your little pitch, right? Like you and I see all the time. Where it's like, hey, do you need hiring help? Do you need hiring help? Like, look, I'm trying not to lose my job right now. Like, and an agency, like, you could be a threat. Like, potentially, like, there's so many threats with internal recruiting teams right now that, like, if you're an agency, like, you really have to consider those and address those in how you approach your messaging and approach your content versus like, how do I sell more? How do I automate more? And probably get more deals. It's like, you got to like know your market, what they're going through, what their day-to-day is. And it's actually kind of astonishing how much red tape, but I know there's red tape corporate-wise, but I think that's what's been some of the conversations we have is like, they can't get a basic text post approved.
Maybe. Yeah, a month of back and forth to get a LinkedIn post put out.
Meanwhile, I just like wrote one during like coffee break. It was like posted this morning.
Yeah.
And I just like wrote it and like let it rip. And I just have a lot of appreciation for like the ability that you had to be innovative and creative. So I know a lot of our listeners come from like small companies, like, and know that that's an opportunity that you have if you don't have that red tape, right? The digital recruiter audience, like that's one of the big things that stood out. Like if you're not posting and you're a small company, you have that flexibility, like you're shooting yourself in the foot because these bigger brands literally can't post anything engaging, like at all. Like they're not allowed to.
Yeah. From a marketing and sales point of view, one of the biggest things that we see as being really valuable about AI is getting ideas faster, getting more ideas in a shorter amount of time, being able to get a lot of drafts put together quickly, especially for people who aren't natural writers or natural talkers, video creators, whatever it is. The AI tools can really help you get 80% of the work done really fast. But knowing that a lot of the competition out there, the internal teams and corporate recruiters, bigger agencies that do have separate marketing teams that have to approve things that you're trying to get done, you have a big advantage as a small agency recruiter in that you can put 10 posts out there and try stuff and iterate and learn what the market is responding to. You can run circles around these big, barges that are coming into the harbor. We're like a speedboat using these AI tools, just go in circles around them.
Well, and I think recruiters got to keep that in mind. Like the smaller teams know that might be some of the reason why you can actually get in the door and get some contracts with bigger firm and bigger companies, because they aren't able to send messaging and content the way you can. And so that sets you apart in the way that you're able to attract talent. If you modify a role and have some of the messaging, have some of the content, and build that ecosystem, we just know that there are constraints. So could be the advantages of a small agency complementing the recruiting efforts of a bigger corporate firm by just the rules of they basically pose on themselves. Like you're able to just be better and more effective and have your pulse on the market better. Like they might know they need to reach people. They're not actually allowed to engage in the tactics that are going to draw in the talent. And that's what's really interesting. To me, that's what I'm seeing as a value prop that agency recruiters can really leverage when they're going out and doing their own business development and content marketing. Or we are able to do and say things that you're not allowed to do.
Yeah, there's no barrier between you and the candidates.
Exactly.
You can reach directly out.
But without hurting the brand and the reputation, I mean, it's I'm not talking about doing stuff polarizing or talking about politics or anything, but just an off the cuff behind the scenes or making things not in corporate speak. They're not even allowed to do that, which has been interesting. So, but I want to talk about because you've been you've been copywriter 6 years now, right?
5, yeah.
5 years, and we worked with a lot of recruiters. We see a lot of AI posts, a lot of AI, content, the rocket emojis, the M dashes. Get rid of those if you haven't already in your content. And I'm going to talk about that later when I speak. But what are you seeing as the missing link to people are okay, maybe more recruiters are posting more, but what are they still not understanding about content and the effectiveness of content?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions with content, not especially coming from recruiters, from everybody, but with recruiters for sure, is thinking that they need to give the right information or give the right advice. And that is what's going to convince somebody to work with you or convince a candidate to pick up your message or to take your job. Whereas what we've seen with Digital Recruiter be a lot more effective are telling stories that either focus on the problem or on the solution. Yeah. And the process, the recruiting process, the interview process, the talent attraction process, that is just a means to an end. But because as a recruiter, agency owner, or whatever, you're steeped in that, you do that 40 plus hours a week, it's what you think to make content about, but it's typically not as effective at attracting a hiring manager who's going to want to work with you or a candidate who's going to want to take a job as talking about the frustrations that they might have. We talked with a woman this morning who recruits for a company that does animal health, and they reach out to veterinarians who are frustrated with their current situation and show them how this next role is a better way of, fueling their passion for helping animals, right? And that frustration is what makes that approach work. Whereas talking about the approach or the process of hiring a veterinarian is probably pretty boring, but the story on either end, the problem that starts it and the solution at the end of it, that's really what makes effective content, and almost downplaying what you actually do as a recruiter to almost nothing, because let's face it, a lot of internal B2B processes are pretty boring. People don't want to hear about them. So yeah, focusing on the problem and the solution instead.
It was a great conversation, and you tapped in on the storytelling, and the storytelling. That's what gets mixed in all these tools, right? I talked at the recruiting summit that Benjamin hosted last month. I was like, it's not the tech, it's you, was the title of my talk. And there's tech tools everywhere here. And I'm going to talk about some today. I don't own one myself, but it's how you leverage it. And again, it's the messaging. What makes good messaging? You resonate, you make someone feel, and you make someone stop and be like, this resonates with you. It's to me. And she's like, well, veterinarians are busy, right? They work hard. I was like, well, let me guess. You probably get the people that, yeah, they love animals, but they're probably exhausted. Like, that's work long hours. And then so if we talk about what are the 3 things that a candidate's going to care about, well, if it's a veterinarian, it's like, hey, your hours are going to be completely different, right? And then the other part of that is like just the emotional drain, right? If you're dealing with being a vet, like that's a lot of issues and all that, and that can take a toll. So then we can start crafting like a good like branding and messaging strategy, in which I guess she has her team on that, but they're working on it for months. I think we figured it out in about 2 minutes with her, like a go-to-market branding approach on messaging. And we could launch probably a campaign today for her with good messaging, fix up her profile. I mean, we could do all that today. But then it's like that corporate trim line, right? Of just like, they don't move that quick. Yeah. But like, it wasn't a tech issue she had. I could set up with Dripify and SalesNav and $180 a month. We could do that right now. And she could connect with, reach out to 800 of these vet techs a month. In that messaging of the 800, maybe 20% connect, 200 people, 300 people. It takes, 10, 20 of those to be like, yup. And even if it's not right now, but you had the automation going, she would post 2 to 3 times a week. They're in the ecosystem. She's talking about like, hey, being a vet, you got into it because of this reason, but now you're feeling like this, right? And this is the stage that you're at. It might be time to kind of talk to us. It may be time for a different challenge, right? But still be able to add value to the animal care industry, if you will, right? And I think that's the mental shift that goes over like, wait, I don't need another tool. I just need a better approach. Right? So, and that's copywriting. I mean, that is content. Like how, like with all that, I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, how do people like learn that or prioritize that with all this tech? And you and I use tech tools, but like, how do like you kind of stay on point with like just getting better at messaging and writing? Like, how do you get better at it?
Yeah, I mean, I think not getting lost in the tools. All these tools have a place. They're really good, but think about something like a carpenter. The reason why they're going to work is not to be able to work with power tools. It's to build a house.
I mean, that would be my reason.
And like, no matter how good the tools are, it's about what the end is and about the people who want that result. And communicating that can be hard. And I have tried hundreds of ways of communicating this result over the years that didn't really land, and some ways that really did land. And I think to actually answer your question, practice and doing it again and again, and which is one reason why I'm so pro LinkedIn, is anybody can get on there and anybody can put their thoughts on a topic out there. And also because there's so much noise, it's easy to stand out. It's easy to get your message in front of people and to show that you have different thoughts, or at least that you talk about things a different way, and infuse it with your own personal style and your own unique set of experiences that have like led you to your expertise today. So I think, like, just to recap, just practice a lot, put your message out there on LinkedIn a lot. I often tell consultants and recruiters that I'm coaching that you don't need to agonize over how to word your message or your post until you've sent 20 messages today, until you've sent 3 posts out, press publish on 3 posts. Just like put it out there. If it works, awesome. Double down on what worked. If it didn't work, why didn't that land? Did I not get the right person's attention? Did they scroll past before they realized that this was something that was helpful for them? Was it not dramatic enough? Did I not make my point clearly enough? Was the goods part of my post buried deep in the bottom of it, and so people didn't get to it? We were listening to Joel Alge talk about videos today, and he said 90% of people drop off of the video after 3 to 5 seconds. And you see the same thing with text posts, and we see the same thing with DMs. If you don't capture why somebody should care about it, whether it's a problem that you're solving or a result that they want, some combination of those, quickly, you're going to lose attention. And then if you have their attention, but they're still not picking up your calls, well, is it a timing issue? Is it more about the way you're describing things? But you don't know any of that if you're not putting yourself out there again and again. Post a lot. I suggest daily. You post daily, multiple times a day, a lot of days. Yeah. And if you're relying on outbound messaging, which I think most people should, you got to be sending at least 20 messages a day. If you're not, you don't have enough information to even know why it's not working or whether it's working.
Yeah, it's the 1-2 punch, right? It's the outreach. If we can automate, it's great. But then even beyond that, like what message you sending outside of automation and the content, are you following up with people that like and comment and view your profile? Like there's so many signals and opportunities there. Like I want to talk about, because you were, a ghostwriter, behind the scenes kind of writer, self-admitted. We talked about like more introverted. I don't think you use any other social media. And I hear that a lot. I'm like, hey, the recruiters come, I'm not on any social media. I'm, post on the stage. Should I do it? I'm busy. Everything's going on. Like, what made you just decide to just, I'm just going to take the plunge and just put myself out there?
Well, I think a couple of things. I didn't know what else to do. And the people I saw who had the kind of business that I was wanting to create were doing this. They were posting on LinkedIn pretty much every day, if not multiple times a day. And so I was like, well, this seems to be what I want to do. And also the fact that the businesses that I'm trying to help are reachable on LinkedIn. And I think for most recruiting agencies, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but for most of them, the business owners that you want to connect with, the hiring managers that you want to connect with, and the candidates to a degree are on LinkedIn. So that's where you should probably start. Other social media channels, sure. But just recognizing that's a good way. There's not print advertising is not a way to get leads
No
these
phone
days.
books.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
And cold calling. I don't know if anybody's cold called recently, but it's brutal. Dialing 100 numbers, you get 3 people pick up and 2 of them are a wrong number. It's a hard way to do business development.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that, you can spend 10 minutes creating a post, 10 more minutes interacting with the people who comment on it, and 10 more minutes sending messages to people, and all of a sudden you've reached hundreds of people that day. It's a lot more leveraged of a way to communicate than it is to just try to do one-to-one selling all the time. And I'm not good at that either. So
And it's free.
yeah, and it's free.
Like free organic marketing. And even if you get it, like you don't have to go viral. Like my sweet spot's kind of been the 10 to 30 like range. If I get 2,000 to 5,000 impressions of post, I'm happy, because with some of the automation, everything else, it's targeted to exactly my audience. And like if you focus on really controlling your own narrative and who you're connecting with, great. And you just talk to that, people, like you can do that. You build your own top of funnel. You don't need $1,000 tech stack to do that, right? It could be a couple $100, and then just study copywriting, right? We'll learn from, me, learn from you. Like we do boot camps, you do one-on-one work, like everything else. Like get coached up on good content, because once you unlock that and know like what works well for copy and content and post and bringing out your voice, it's such a game changer, because less than 1% of people are posting weekly on LinkedIn. A fraction of that are posting twice a week on LinkedIn. There's 4 times the amount of monthly users on LinkedIn. There's 1.15 billion monthly active users on LinkedIn, which is 4x from 2019. It's everywhere. 99% of LinkedIn is just workers, right? And/or people pitching you in the inbox. So if you can avoid pitching people in the inbox, you can avoid just like the AI swap content, really develop and plan your voice.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
And one thing I always like to remind myself is that you're not necessarily competing. If you're a small business owner, if you're a recruiting agency owner who serves a specific niche, you're not necessarily competing against those other people who have big followings on LinkedIn. People like Joel Alge, even people like you. You're not competing against that level of content creator. You're trying to speak to the general manager of a factory who might have 125 LinkedIn connections, and you're one of the only interesting things that comes across their feed. So it's you have a much bigger chance than you might think, because it's not the whole world of LinkedIn. It's your very curated list of hiring managers and candidates that you're actively reaching out to and talking to. And if you can show them one thing a week that tells that person that you understand the problems they might have and that you have a way of solving that problem, it can be a really good way of changing their opinion about you and making them receptive to speaking to you when the timing is right.
Absolutely. Yeah. You come up with your dream 100, right? Talk to your ideal 100 hiring managers, like ideal next best client. Don't worry about everyone else. And that's where the results come in, right? You don't have to talk to other recruiters or even candidates if your focus is business development. If you're corporate or, working with recruiters, right? Then you do talk to candidates, right? You geared content around that. So, cool. Well, this is awesome. What are you looking forward to for today and tomorrow?
Well, we got your presentation this afternoon.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Interested to see how that goes and see how people respond to it, because this is a little bit different crowd than I think the typical digital recruiter
We're expanding our our network a little bit. Yeah.
So it's cool to see that. And yeah, it's just interesting to see what people are thinking about, what people are paying attention to, because it's easy when you work from home like we do to get in like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And so just seeing these other perspectives is really cool.
Yeah, I'm with you. It'll be interesting, the talk. This is my first recruiting conference. I've done the speaking thing a few times, but that'll be fun. And there's live band karaoke tonight, so
It's gonna be fun.
I'm always there's a lot of talk, a lot of buzz around that. So I'm still trying to figure out which song I want to do. But it's gonna be fun. So, but dude, Ross, appreciate you coming out here. Appreciate you making the trip. Great to meet you in person.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming by the DR booth and talking shop.
Absolutely.
All right.
My pleasure.
Well, that's it for this episode. And make sure to like, subscribe if you got some value out of this. Until next time, happy hunting.